Hey you guys, hello and welcome. I hope everyone's having a really wonderful day. I know I am. I don't know if you guys can see out here, it's just beautiful weather. Nicest January day I think I've ever seen for at least the last couple of years. It's just so pleasant today. And I really wanted to make a video outside. I'm not sure when I'll post this, but hopefully somewhat soon. So this over here is the Hebe. I think some people call it the Hebe or the Hebe. This is the Golden Asco. I have it written down somewhere, just a sec, I'm gonna check. I don't usually write notes, but I had to write notes for this plant because I'm not very familiar with it. So this over here is the Hebe Karo Golden Esk. I just have a few notes here. It's in the family Scrophulariaceae, but some people say that it's actually in the family Plantagenaceae. So the Plantagenaceae family is basically more of a woolly, basally produced large leaf plant family, so you'll find lots of digitalis or foxgloves in that family. And then the Scrophulariaceae family is where you find penstemons and what's that other plant? Veronicas. So one of the more common names of this plant is actually hardy upright winter veronica, and I think that's because they have a very similar white flower that emerges late on into the summer season. And I'll get a little bit more into that later. So this is just a really interesting plant because it makes really good bonsais. I'll put my hand over here so it focuses, hopefully. Has this really interesting, almost lemur marcation to its bark. Has these really pronounced nodes. And these here might look like scales, but they're actually not. They're not even awls. They're not needles either. They are actual simple leaves. I think this over here is a good example, if it ever focuses. Don't think it will focus. But they're actually simple leaves that kind of create this whipcord. That's actually another name of this plant, is the Whipcord Veronica. So enough about kind of the background history of this plant. More on cultural care. So this plant over here is native to the South Island of New Zealand, particularly the south coast of the South Island of New Zealand, around the Dunedin sort of area. And it's just a really interesting plant. So I actually have another one over here that I unfortunately killed. So I just wanted to show you guys this for reference, because I think it's important to mention that you're not always successful when you're gardening. And I'll get into reasons why. So this plant here loves really, really good drainage. It likes to be a little bit pot bound. It doesn't like a whole lot of moisture in the summer, I've noticed. And it's definitely a plant that likes full sun. If you prune this back by about 2/3, it'll start reblooming for you. And it usually benefits from a shearing back in late summer. If you cut this during the winter season, it'll rot and turn black and go sooty and moldy. That's one of the reasons why this one went so wrong. And yeah, so they don't like to be divided. They don't like being moved a whole lot. This is a perennial plant. It has kind of a creeping fashion to it, almost like a juniper. I don't know if you guys can see the color difference between these two. This is the one that unfortunately didn't make it this summer, or winter, and this is the one that did. So it has this really nice sort of yellowy, coppery color to it in the fall, and then it sort of hardens off into this really nice chartreuse color. So this over here is a plant that produces more foliar growth in the early spring. So you'll see in February, March, April, it'll put a lot more growth for you. This one over here is starting right now. I don't know if you can see. Having really hard issues with my camera focusing today. But yeah, it's a natural cross-hybridized variety between the Hebe Armstrongii and the Hebe Oscara. I think they're both natives to New Zealand. And I just really like it because it's very kind of prehistoric looking. This plant here does really well in more alkaline clay soils. It doesn't like being buried too deep within the soil. It likes to have its crown somewhat exposed. Very fibrous roots on this. If you want to encourage branching, I recommend shearing it back a little bit. They are prone to a little bit of dieback. They are prone to nectaria canker and crown gall as well. You can do a preventative measure by putting in a little bit of digall or a little bit of a biofungicide if you want to get rid of that. and they do come true to seed. It's a shorter lived perennial plant. I think most people where I live growing them ornamentally usually have them for about 5, 6, 7 years until they start fading out. But you can air layer them and propagate them that way. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this one. Yeah, so if you want to be successful with it, really good drainage. You want to make sure that they get full sun. You want to make sure that you don't cut them back too hard. My neighborhood is so polarized. I just saw a guy in a limousine drive by. Oh man, okay. Anyways. So yeah, this here is just the one that I messed up. You'll know that it's dead when it starts losing its leaves. This is a very common issue if you give it too much water or it sits in water for too long. It doesn't respond well to very acidic soils. And it's not an edible plant, unfortunately. It is edible to most animals. It'll give them a lot of fiber, but for humankind, I wouldn't recommend eating this plant. It has somewhat the resins that circulate within the plant are somewhat toxic to human health. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just a really interesting, kind of appealing plant that I think a lot of people don't know about. It looks like an evergreen conifer. It is an evergreen, so it doesn't go dormant. However, it's not. These are simple leaves. So yeah, looks really good in containers. And yeah, so have a good day, you guys. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. And I'll see you next time.